July 2020. The world is in the midst of a global pandemic. Aside from the uncertainty and the anxiety and general fear, everyone is inside their homes and also bored. No parties, social gatherings, going out to dinner, game nights, you name it. Gone. You talk to almost anyone younger than 25, and they'll tell you they had 2 years ripped from their lives. Not all socialization is gone, though. Through the internet, so much more is possible. Now, I don't need to tell you that, unless you've somehow been living under a rock, you're familiar with the internet. One specific subset of this internet socialization is online multiplayer video games. Gamers have been connecting with each other and making friends, and enemies, from all around the world for years now, simply because they got put into a random match with a bunch of strangers and were made to cooperate towards a common goal. Unfortunately, the vast majority of these games, especially the popular ones, involve some sort of gaming prowess. Suddenly, this little social deduction game from 2018 becomes very popular. I'm not going to get into how the craze started or any of that story has been told to death. In fact, as per usual, I didn't hop onto the wagon until much later. I didn't really see the appeal too much based on the gameplay I saw. In my opinion, at the time, it looked too simplistic. 1 to 2 bad players and simple menial tasks to complete to pass the time until your inevitable death. See, for me, in high school I played the hell out of another social deduction game, Town of Salem. My friends and I played this all the time. We played during lunches and breaks, and even had many late nights and online parties together, all while talking together on Skype. Yeah, Skype. I promise I'm not that old. Eventually, I realized my mistake. I'm older now and I like to think wiser. There's a lot of beauty in simplicity. I mean, 2 of the top 3 selling games ever are Tetris and Minecraft. Among Us is simple, and that makes it accessible. Anyone can pick up Among Us and understand it nearly right away. You're given a task list and the freedom to move about the map. The tasks are so easy a 4-year-old can do them. But I'm not going to summarize the game. If you clicked on this video, I am 99% sure you already know of or have played Among Us. What's important is that so many people did pick up Among Us, gamers and non-gamers alike, to play with family and friends and random strangers to try to gain back some semblance of normalcy. Fast forward to 2022. Among Us has shrank quite a bit in popularity, but Innersloth is determined to continue expanding this game they clearly love. That included updates to the original game, adding new mechanics and maps and intrigue, as well as something else. And that brings us to Among Us VR. Conceptually to me, this game should work incredibly well on a virtual reality platform, especially considering the built-in gaming equivalent of the second coming of Christ, proximity voice chat. Though, like the original game, I am yet again late to the party. So maybe it's about time I actually gave it a shot. Yep, it's pretty damn good. Like the title says, I believe wholeheartedly that it is better than the original. As it stands right now, the original flat game version of Among Us is sort of a convoluted mess, in my opinion. Like I said earlier, its beauty and draw was in its simplicity, and that idea is kind of starting to fall by the wayside. In the past year or so, they've added different bonus roles, a full-blown cosmetic shop, and a leveling system, for some reason. The shop is cool and fine. I personally love cosmetics, and other games like Town of Salem have done similar things. But the leveling system throws me off. There doesn't seem to be any ranked matches or any reason for the levels besides like vanity. Also, people love to just leave the game when they don't get imposter, which is annoying and kills lobbies, but whatever. We're not here today for the flat game. I went into Among Us VR with some pretty strong preconceived notions. I'd grown bored of the original by the time this came out, and I heard many horror stories about the Quest kids, which we'll talk about later. I really only gave it a shot now because my brother, as well as my friend Sid, who if you've been around the channel, you may have seen before, have VR headsets, and I was bored and wanted to play something multiplayer in VR. I can tell you right from the start, I had very mixed feelings. The tutorial was a bit lengthy and tedious, though I guess it would be to me considering I know the mechanics already. I can imagine to a brand new player it would be a godsend. The lack of a server browser and the ability to set up parties or friends, at least on the Steam version, bugs me greatly. And no matter what I do, I cannot get my Steam username to show up. I've had hide my username unchecked the entire time, but it isn't working. If you know what's causing this, please let me know down below. Though once I finally got into a game with Jonas and Sid, and we got a few rounds in, the fun began to emerge. To tell you the truth, dear viewer, this is the most fun I've had in VR in a while. And that's not saying I haven't had fun in the other games I've covered, just that this has been the most entertaining. All of the core gameplay elements from the original game have been implemented near flawlessly. The tasks make sense.
How many times do I gotta do this? How many times do I gotta pull this lever? Oh, I gotta press and hold the lever. Ah, that was the problem.
The imposter mechanics of killing and venting are perfect, and it is visually stunning. Seriously, this is probably the best looking VR game I have played, except maybe Half-Life Alyx. Though, it can't be a VR game without a small amount of weird choices and jank. I really don't like how when you get next to a task object, it teleports you to a proper orientation. It usually just turns me away from the task and I have to turn around, which isn't normally an issue, but if you're trying to go fast, it can be very annoying. There's a few bugs revolving around player disconnections too. I had this one game where a player left and they still existed in the game for another round or so. But as far as actual game mechanics go, it's Among Us, but in 3D. What absolutely makes this version stand out so firmly against the original is exactly what I thought, the proximity chat. It completely and entirely changes how the game feels, even more so than the whole added physical dimension. In the original game, the only time you can actually communicate with the other players is during meetings. And at that time, all communication is public to the rest of the lobby. That means all strategy, ideas, and conversations are completely vulnerable to the opposing party, whether you are a crewmate or an imposter. But at the same time, everyone is aware that the opposition can read, understand, and use all of that to their advantage. In VR, with proximity chat, that dynamic completely changes. Not only are you able to constantly communicate with the other players, you can also do it in secret. Even in meetings, your voice does not fill the entire cafeteria. If enough people are distracted, you could go off into the corner and discuss strategy or suspicions without alerting anyone else. But you can also never be sure if somebody heard you. And as a crewmate, it can always turn out that the person you were talking to, trusting above all others, was a traitor all along.
Hi. Did that spook you? Oh, motherfucker!
To me, this heightens the core gameplay of social deduction. It is so much more visceral to be killed while mid-conversation with somebody you thought was on your side, unlike in the original where it feels much less personal. With that in mind, it is also absolutely hilarious. Cutting somebody off mid-conversation by killing them is incredibly funny and even funnier to see happen. The things I've witnessed people say and do moments before their untimely demise in this silly bean spaceman game will always be etched into my memory as some of the funniest things ever.
I'm just glad I actually got his Discord before he...
It is also so much harder to lie to people when you have to actually talk to them. In writing, so much context and emotion gets left out, but when you're face-to-face or space helmet to space helmet, trying to verbally convince somebody that they did not just see you murder a fellow living being, anything can betray the truth. But oh my god, it is so much better.
Neat. It was red!
He already lied to us once.
It
It's
was
totally
red!
him.
It was
fucking
red!
there. He lied. You
No,
saw him lie. We
Orange,
listened to
he
him. We
had
shouldn't have
pizza.
listened to him.
He gave us
Why are you
pizza!
fucking
How
burping?
dare you! I can't fucking do this!
Please.
Why are you communicating in burp?
No, please. It's him. I swear it's him. No, God, please.
It's okay. It's
You doomed us
okay.
all.
It's okay. Yes!
That is, as long as you get a good lobby that isn't filled with 6-year-olds and edgelords. I think I got pretty lucky in that aspect. The only time we were all able to play was around midnight Central Time, so lobbies were sparse and for the most part were not children. We got the occasional kid that was obviously younger than 13, but we only encountered one wannabe edgelord, and since it was my lobby, I kicked him immediately because I'm not down for that. If you happen to get a good lobby going with people who are just there to have fun, it is really one of the best experiences you can have. The small stories of camaraderie and betrayal interspersed with goofy bullshit like this.
Who pressed the button? Who pressed the button?
Hey, it was red.
Why did you press the button?
It was black.
Red, close the door.
Red, close the door. What proof do you have of that?
No.
Are just amazing and pure and human. And since the gameplay is so simple, the interactivity essentially is the gameplay. People are the game. Talking to others is the game. Cooperating towards a goal is the game. And what a game it is. Before I wrap this up, I really feel like as I'm reviewing this game, I need to talk about the elephant in the room, which is the epidemic of so-called quest kids. This here is the serious room, because this is a serious topic. For the most part, it's generally harmless, just that older folk who play these games don't particularly enjoy being in a lobby entirely full of literal children, me included, but there's a bigger issue at play. If you are a child under 13 or a parent of a child under 13 and are watching this, I need you to listen to me because this is serious. Well, okay, for one, if you're under 13, YouTube says you can't even be here. So, go on. Virtual reality can have a serious negative impact on young children, both physically and mentally. That potential impact does become less if the child is on the older end of the under 13 spectrum, but I've seen videos and accounts of children as young as 4 years old playing this game. Again, if somehow this video has broken beyond my audience and you are a parent of a young kid watching this, do not buy them a VR headset. I know the whole iPad kid thing has become a meme and we don't fully understand what effects it will have, but early and continuous VR exposure could potentially be absolutely disastrous. Virtual reality has become quite immersive with better components and visuals, and a child who is still coming to grips with actual reality could have some serious problems with perception and understanding of what is and what isn't real. There are also theories it could impact eyesight, similar to studies being done on nearsightedness related to smartphone and tablet use. The smooth locomotion present in these games could very likely impact balance development in very young kids, and the online space is, unfortunately, a dangerous and lawless wasteland. Children are like sponges at times and will soak up information, words, phrases, and ideas from the environment around them. And if that environment is a game with older teenagers and adults, there is genuinely no telling what can happen. Like I said before, there are a lot of problems people are facing with obvious children coming into lobbies and saying some of the worst, most heinous shit possible because it's funny. Because kids are picking this up from toxic adults and becoming just like them. Don't just hand your kid a VR headset and let them do whatever they want completely unsupervised. The regular internet is bad enough. A game that basically amounts to a 3D voice-based chat room, you're gonna just let them hang out there unsupervised? Would you drop your 6-year-old off at a high school and just let them go? No. So don't let them hop off into a completely alternate reality that they may not even fully grasp as not real. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. I would rather not end on a low note, so I'm going to share a few more of my favorite clips from these recording sessions because they are just too good to be left offline.
Ruby.
You want to know how to kill?
Little Caesars is the best pizza that you can buy. In this 18-hour video essay, I will explain why Domino's is in fact hot garbage and way too expensive for what it is.
Beans. Hey.
Beans! Oh my god, I was about to ask where Bluesynthetica is. I forgot she was dead.
Seth, you asshole. You were like, oh, I forgot Bluesynthetica was dead.
Okay, Sid. Okay, but really, I did forget you were dead. I looked around the room and I looked around the room and I noticed you weren't there and I was confused as to why you weren't in the room. I had forgotten that I killed you.
Seth, don't you dare be the fucking imposter.
Why
Don't you
would
dare
I
be
be
the
the
imposter.
imposter? I don't even know how to play
track
the
record?
goddamn game. Jesus
when I get stabbed in the-
Christ.
He was chasing my ass.
Everyone else left. I could have killed you. I didn't because I'm not the goddamn imposter.
I'm lying.
It's
That's 100%.
Bluesynthetica.
I'm joking.
How is
I'm
it-
joking.
what?
Blue is fine.
How is it
I'm
me?
evil.
Bluesynthetica.
18,
Bluesynthetica. If I die, it's white. If I die, it's white.
15, 14.
If I die, it's white.
2, 1. Bye-bye.
Black, what is the purpose of this meeting?
It was Cyan. They just saw him kill.
It's white! It's white! It's white! It's white! It's white!
He actually got it.
It's white!
Chasing Blue, and Blue thinks if it's white if he kills me.
And with that, I'll let you go. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, consider checking out some of my other stuff. I make a variety of content here now, and a good chunk of it is pretty decent. But regardless, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time.